Dunder Data Python Challenge number 9. These are daily exercises to challenge your Python skills. You can take all of the challenges at python.dunderdata.com. So in this challenge, given a string, return true if the last letter is capitalized and false otherwise. So this is one of the simplest challenges. We can do this in a single line. So we're given this string S. We're going to select the last character, which is also a string, and then all strings have this isUpper function, which just returns true or false whether or not the last letter is uppercase or not. So let's go ahead and just execute this. We'll pass in some sample data. So here A is the last letter in the string. This is false. We can change it to capital A just to show that it'll show true. And then the assert statement just verifies that we have it correct. All right, so that does it for Dunder Data Python Challenge number 9. So this set will be 5 elements, each 1 character long strings. So what's great about sets, there are operators that do some magic. This ampersand does set intersection, so it'll just return the common items in each set. And so that means we need to use create another set of the second string and just return the common ones like this using this ampersand operator, which is the set intersection operation. So let's go ahead and see what happens here, and we get the set of the common characters like that. So that is what I'm looking for. We can double check with this assert statement. One thing to notice here is that even though these items are printed in some order on the screen, there is no inherent ordering of sets. So regardless of how it gets printed on the screen, as long as the items are the same, then Python will count it as exactly equal. There is no ordering for sets. All right, so that does it for Dunder Data Python Challenge number 10. Welcome to Dunder Data Python Challenge number 11. These are daily exercises to challenge your Python skills. You can take all of the challenges at python.dunderdata.com. So in this challenge, given an integer n, return the number of ending zeros. Okay, so we're going to pass in some number. We want to determine how many zeros it ends with. So I think one of the simplest ways to do this is to convert it to a string. So we'll convert n, whatever that number is, to a string. And then we can just return the length of s subtracted from the length that if we strip off the zeros from the right side. So this is our strip method. So we'll take s, we'll take from it the zeros that it ends with, the right zeros, and we need to take the length of that. So take the full length of s and subtract from it the length of the string removed of zeros on the right side. So our strip will start stripping zeros from the right until it reaches its first non-zero. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this and execute this. So it looks like it worked, 3, and then we could just verify that it is correct right there. Okay, so that wraps it up for Dunder Data Python Challenge number 11. Welcome to Dunder Data Python Challenge number 13. These are daily exercises to challenge your Python skills. You can take the challenges at python.dunderdata.com. So in this challenge, you're going to compute n factorial and return the number of zeros that it ends in. Let's go ahead and get started. So n factorial can either be calculated with a for loop, or you can use the math standard library and import the factorial function. And then you can just call it like this. So I'll just reassign n to n factorial, and we can just look at the answer right now, and that's n factorial. Let's see, that might be too much, say 50. So as you can see, that there's a growing number of zeros that this will end in. Maybe I can go with 100 and so forth. So anyways, our solution here, or our challenge, is to figure out how many zeros that it ends in, and this is just exactly what we did in a previous challenge. So one of the best ways to do this, or simplest ways, most straightforward, is to just turn the value into a string, and then we can take the length of this total string and then subtract from it the length when we strip out the zeros on the right side, so R strip. So this will strip out the zeros on the right side, and then it'll just return, say, the length from here to here, and then the full length it'll be subtracted from. So that'll leave us with the number of zeros over here like that. So that should do it. There's 24 zeros that 100 factorial ends in. For what we have with our test case, it was 20, which ends in 4 zeros, and then we can just use the assert statement and to double check. All right, so that does it for Dunder Data Python Challenge number 13. Welcome to Dunder Data Python Challenge number 14. These are daily exercises to challenge your Python skills. You can take all of the challenges at python.dunderdata.com. So in this challenge, you're going to count how many times n can be divided evenly by 2. So we're going to take n and continue to divide it by 2 until it no longer is divisible by 2, and then just count how many times that has happened. Okay, so let's go ahead and start our code here. So for instance, let's think about the number 20. 20 can be divided by 2 once to get to 10, and then once again to get to 5. 5 is an odd number, so the total times that 20 can be evenly divided by 2 is 2. So the way we're going to do this here is we can keep track of this count by creating a variable and assigning it to 0. And so while n mod 2 is equal to 0, so we're going to test that this remainder division is equal to 0. So that means it does evenly divide into 2. That means there's no remainder. Then we're just going to increase the count by 1, and we will divide n by 2, like that. So divide it by 2, and then reassign it to itself, and then we'll just return the count. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if this works. And 304 gives the correct answer over here. Is 4. Let's look at 20. That is 2, like we said. We can try an odd number, so that should be 0. Looks like it's working, and then we can test. There's actually 2 test cases here, so 1,000 should be able to happen 3 times. 304 is 4 times. Okay, so that's how you solve Dunder Data Python Challenge number 14. Welcome to Dunder Data Python Challenge number 14. These are daily exercises to challenge your Python skills. You can take all of the challenges at python.dunderdata.com. So in this challenge, you're going to count how many times n can be divided evenly by 2. So we're going to take n and continue to divide it by 2 until it no longer is divisible by 2, and then just count how many times that has happened. Okay, so let's go ahead and start our code here. So for instance, let's think about the number 20. 20 can be divided by 2 once to get to 10, and then once again to get to 5. 5 is an odd number, so the total times that 20 can be evenly divided by 2 is 2. So the way we're going to do this here is we can keep track of this count by creating a variable and assigning it to 0. And so while n mod 2 is equal to 0, so we're going to test that this remainder division is equal to 0. So that means it does evenly divide into 2. That means there's no remainder. Then we're just going to increase the count by 1, and we will divide n by 2, like that. So divide it by 2, and then reassign it to itself, and then we'll just return the count. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if this works. And 304 gives the correct answer over here. Is 4. Let's look at 20. That is 2, like we said. We can try an odd number, so that should be 0. Looks like it's working, and then we can test. There's actually 2 test cases here, so 1,000 should be able to happen 3 times. 304 is 4 times. Okay, so that's how you solve Dunder Data Python Challenge number 14. Welcome to Dunder Data Python Challenge number 15. These are daily exercises that challenge your Python skills. You can take all of the challenges at python.dunderdata.com. So in this challenge, given the numerical value of the minute hand of a clock, return the number of degrees. Assume a circular clock. So in a circle there are 360 degrees. This is one of the easier challenges. So because there's 360 degrees and 60 minutes, each minute is worth 6 degrees. So you can do the calculation, or you can just use 6. I'm just going to use 6, so I'm going to say return n times 6. So whatever the minute hand says, we just multiply it by 6, and that gives us the number of degrees. So here we test it with 10, just multiplying it by 6, and we get 60. All right, so that does it for Dunder Data Python Challenge number 15. Welcome to Dunder Data Python Challenge number 16. These are daily exercises to challenge your Python skills. Take all of the challenges at python.dunderdata.com. So in this challenge, you're given a time in the format of HH:MM:SS, and you need to return the degree of the minute hand of a circular clock. So the minute hand obviously depends on the minutes and also on the seconds. So as the seconds tick by, it gets closer and closer to the next minute. We don't really care about the hour. So what we'll do here is split this string. It's an hour, minute, and second, like this. So here's our input, this string s, and we'll say we will split by the colon. Now let's go ahead and just return this, hour, minute, and second, just to see what we have. Okay, 2, 45, 35. So that looks good. Now, we don't care about the hour, but we do need to convert this to an integer. So we'll say we'll use the int and the int function. So we'll say minute and second will be converted like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and see this. So 45, 35, that looks good. So return the degree of the minute hand. So we can figure out the fraction of the minutes over here. So second divided by 60, and we know that there are 6 degrees for every minute. So because there's 60 minutes in an hour, and so there's 360 degrees in a circle. So if we do this, this will give us the degrees for that second. But we also, this is a fraction of a minute. We also need to add minute here. So we'll do minute plus second divided by 60. So this gives us the portion of the minutes. And let's return that real quick. So if I do this, this will give me 45.35/60ths of a minute. So that looks good. And then I just need to multiply this by 6, and I will get the degree, and 273.5, and that equals 273.5. All right, so that completes challenge number 16. Welcome to Dunder Data Python Challenge number 17. You can take all of the challenges at python.dunderdata.com. So in this challenge, you're given an integer number of cents between 1 and 99. You need to return the number of quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies required to make change as a list. Use the least number of coins. So notice this is worth 2 points, so it's a little bit trickier. So our strategy here is going to be try to find the number of coins that fit into what's remaining, starting with the largest number. So we'll start by how many quarters can fit into the cents, and then how many dimes can fit into the remainder of that, then how many nickels can fit into the remainder of that, and then finally how many pennies can fit into whatever is left over. So if you look over here at, say, 98 cents, we can fit 3 quarters in there. So for 75 cents, that leaves 23 cents, which means there are 2 dimes can go in there for 20 cents, leaving us 3 cents left. That means no nickels be able to fit, and then finally 3 pennies will needed to equal that last 3 cents. So the way we're going to work this is
by first creating a list of our solution. That's what we will return. We can say return count already, like that. And we will iterate. We'll just use coin as the iteration variable. We're going to iterate through the coin values from greatest to least. So we'll start off with quarters. And there's this nice function built into Python called divmod. So we'll divide the cents by the coin, and this will return both the number that it fits in there, so the quotient, and the remainder. So the number, that's what we really care about, and then we care about both actually. So this is the number that can fit into it evenly, and then this is the remainder, and that'll be our new cents. And all we have to do here is just append that num, and then we'll just return the count. So let me try to explain this once again. So say cents is 98. So the first iteration will have 98 divided by 25. That will be coin, which will be 3, remainder 23. And then 3 will get appended here, and then 23 will be used in the next div mod. All right, so let's check this. And we do get the correct answer here, 3203. And then we can just validate for the 24 cents, and it looks like it is correct. All right, so that's how you do Python challenge number 17. Welcome to Dunder Data Python challenge number 18. You can take all of these challenges at python.dunderdata.com. So in this challenge, given a string that separates words with spaces, return all words that begin with the character start and end in end as a list in the order that they appear. So let's take a look at our example over here. So we're giving a list of words separated by a space, and we need to find words that begin with P in this case and end in N. So like pain and plain and Python, but put it in the order that they appear. So let's create a list. We'll iterate. This will be our solution. So we'll return words as the solution. And we will iterate now. So for a word in S is what we're given. Dot split. We'll split it by spaces. So now word will be each individual word over here. So if the word starts with the start character, so there's a starts with method for strings, and word dot ends with the end character, then we will append our current word to the words list. Let's go ahead and check that out. So that looks good. Just one more check over here, so it equals exactly that. All right, so that looks like it works. So that does it for number 18.